Lesson number 4 is to consider using interactive marketing. This has become one of the buzzwords of marketing and something consumers are coming to expect more and more of. Just as Twitter and Facebook have allowed customers to communicate more easily and directly with the companies whose products they use, consumers are also more interested these days in actually shaping the marketing messages they see. This isn't a new thing. It's as old as contests from decades ago that let you determine what a product's new name or slogan would be, like this 1956 popsicle ad. But with the Old Spice Guy campaign, consumers not only got to shape the marketing message, they also got to interact with the engaging personality that had been created. How can you make your next marketing campaign interactive? How can you give your customers a voice in what they see? These are questions to ask yourself the next time you plan a marketing campaign. Lesson number 5 from the Old Spice Guy is a simple one. Show customers that you care. The Old Spice Guy campaign did this exceptionally well, and it did it on 3 separate levels. On one level, all of the Old Spice Guy's messages were positive messages. He constantly told people he loved them, that they were beautiful and handsome, and that they were just great people. He was constantly affirming, showing everyone who was tuning in, which was millions of people, that he and by association Old Spice cares for them. So that's one level, which is in some ways the more superficial level. But on the second level, the Old Spice Guy Responses campaign showed that Old Spice cared about its customers because of the enormous amount of work that went into making the responses. A team of writers, camera crews, social media trawlers, and of course the actor Isaiah Mustafa worked tirelessly for 2 days, producing over 180 spots at an average of 7 minutes per spot. These spots were funny, they were engaging, they responded to people with heart, and they showed everyone that Old Spice really cares about its customers because of the amount of work that went into the production. Old Spice gained serious customer care capital through this campaign. And as we saw a minute ago, that care has also translated into sales due to a combined effort to offer discounts and coupons on the Old Spice product itself, which was the third way Old Spice showed customers that it cared. So the 5th lesson here is to show customers that you care. And the 6th and final lesson, particularly when you have a time-based promotion or interaction, is to have a good exit strategy. If you intend to engage with your customers for a day or a week or a month or however long it is, but you're planning a definite end to your campaign, leave in style. Make the end of your promotion every bit as engaging as every step in the process so far. The sports analogy is to retire at the top of your game. Old Spice did this terrifically. Take a look at the final response video they posted, a message from the Old Spice Guy to everyone.
Well, friends, like all great things, this too must end. There's giant oaks that need chainsawing into yacht boats, Bermuda Triangle mysteries that need solving with huge magnifying glasses, and everyone knows I could use 1 or 12 medals for winning exotic car throwing competitions. I must ride my jet ski lion into the sunset. I know a lot of you have written me and commented on my works, but I am just one ridiculously handsome man. I can't write to everyone. But please know that I consider you my dearest and closest internet friends. I'll never forget this time we spent together. I love you, always. Silverfish hand catch!
So there they are, the 6 takeaways from the Old Spice Guy campaign. Personality pays, leverage your previous success, spread your message out, consider interactive marketing, show customers that you care, and have an exit strategy. The point of all of this, particularly for small businesses, is to find new and interesting ways of communicating with your customers. And when you do this online through social media, it becomes that much more important to have a personal feel. Customers finding you on social media networks like Facebook and Twitter expect you to engage them on a different level than print marketing. Marketing through social media is more personal and offers far more interaction with your brand. So that concludes the presentation portion of our first Straight Talk webinar. And at this point, I think we're going to take some questions from attendees.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Great job. And we do have a couple questions lined up. If you have others, please add them to the question bar again, that we might get to those. The first question is, what other social media forums are there besides Facebook and Twitter that you would recommend?
Okay, thank you for that question. That question is from Bill, and I appreciate that question. The answer there is, first of all, is that Facebook and Twitter are really the big social media platforms that you want to be on right now. There are others. I mentioned Google Buzz, which has not done well. There's Yelp, which has some popularity. Tumblr, which is a fairly good one for blogs, which is spelled like the word Tumblr but without an E. LinkedIn is, of course, an important one for businesses to use, especially if you're going to be networking with people between businesses. And one that people don't often think of, because you don't think of it as a social media site, is YouTube. YouTube is a way of putting your content out there in a similar way to social media, and it also is the second most used search engine on the internet. So right after Google, people use YouTube to search for content. So that's another one to think about. But our recommendation at Pivot is really to focus on doing Facebook and Twitter well first, rather than spreading yourself too thin on multiple social media sites. And to do this, you really need a high level of commitment, because your friends and your followers are going to have expectations about how often content's going to be posted, and the content you're posting also needs to be interesting and not too filled with salesy talk. Companies really get in lots of trouble with their friends and their fans on social media sites if they are being too salesy. It's better to do one or two social media platforms really well than to do multiple social media platforms sort of half-heartedly. So that's the answer there.
Thank you, Bill. Great question. And as you talked about LinkedIn, too, a lot of people don't realize you can communicate through LinkedIn versus just have your static information. So a lot of people are underutilizing that tool, as you know. We are hitting the 11:30 mark here. Other questions, we will deal with you directly. We have made a commitment to the audience, and we'll do this week to week, that we will keep this to 30 minutes because we know there's a lot of folks here who are busy. I want to, again, encourage you to come to the seminar 2 weeks from today. The focus will be on the do's and don'ts of social media, but we'll also cover the latest news and what it means to you, make it applicable. And also want to encourage you to please give us your feedback through the survey that you will get here within an hour or so. We want to know if we hit it right on, if we need to get more in depth. How can we improve this? What topics do you want to hear from? So please give us a little bit of your time and give us some feedback on the session. So again, thank you all for joining us today. I'll give the final thoughts to Ian, but have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again.
The only last thing I want to mention is that you'll see there on your screen the topic for the next Straight Talk on Social Media webinar, which will be 2 weeks from today. The topic will be the do's and don'ts of social media, and in about 5 minutes, the registration link for that webinar will be available on our Facebook page. You can see the Facebook page down below there, facebook.com/pivotgroup. We're also on Twitter, and there are my and Dave's email addresses as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Finally, just one last little treat. The webinar is now diamonds. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you do have a great weekend. Take care.